Hello to my fellow history lovers and people that think if I learn something new today, it will be a good day. I am author Eileen Schnabel, author of the Kep Westgard Time Travel to the American Revolution series, and I just have one question for you, but it gets kind of into deep levels of history. The question is as follows. What side was Benedict Arnold fighting for during the capture of Fort Ticonderoga? And the answer is, at that point, he is fighting for the Patriots. And Ticonderoga is very early in the war. They basically capture a fort. He works with the Green Mountain Boys without firing a shot. And Washington looks at him and thinks this guy's kind of impressive. And then not too long after, he actually attempts to capture Quebec. And the history behind this is interesting as well. Basically, you have to realize that the Americans, who I'm calling the Americans at this point, the colonists, think that, you know what, Canada may side with us. They may want to be the 14th colony. They actually thought this because prior to the French and Indian War, which had just happened less than a decade earlier, Canada had all been French. And then France loses the French and Indian War to Britain. So all of Canada is now British. And the colonists look up there and think, maybe they'd want to be on our side. So the idea was, we're going to capture Quebec, rally the French to our side, and it all actually doesn't work out. So the attack is on New Year's Eve. The idea will be a surprise attack, but there's a huge snowstorm. By the time they're up there in the howling wilderness, the men are half starved. The man who joins Arnold, another commander, Montgomery, he's killed. Arnold is actually shot in the leg, but he still looks pretty bold and pretty heroic to the Americans, including Washington. So now fast forward, there is the Battle of Valcour Island, which I think could say nothing other than Arnold is an enormous hero in the Battle of Valcour Island. It's an astonishing feat where he builds an entire fleet to stop the Canadian invasion, the British invasion from Canada, which another point, the reason of course they want to take over Canada is also because then they can stop the British from using it as a launching pad up north so that they can't come into the colonies through Canada if Canada is now the 14th colony. All right, so Benedict Arnold will continue on to be a hero. Now we're going to go to an interesting battle called the Battle of Saratoga, specifically the Second Battle of Saratoga, which you could read in Kep Westgard in the Second Battle of Saratoga, where Benedict Arnold is again an enormous hero. And then something happens. So between 1777, that's when the Second Battle of Saratoga happens, and 1779, Benedict Arnold starts to get disillusioned with the Patriots. He is in debt. He's been questioned about some of his financial dealings, which he thinks is a slight on his honor. And he starts talking to the British. And through a man named John Andre, an officer in the British Army, he says, you know what? If you'll pay me enough money, which was 20,000 pounds, which was an enormous amount of money in those days, I will actually give you an American fort. I'll find a way to give you an American fort. And that fort was going to be West Point. So the plot was like this. Arnold actually got control of the fort. He was the officer in charge of the fort, and he starts to weaken the defenses. And he actually goes so far as to draw a map of all of the defenses, who would be there. And then he sends it with John Andre, who is his liaison between him and the British, and says basically, you know, we'll when you attack, we'll let you win. Unfortunately for Arnold, and fortunately for the Patriots, Andre is actually caught going back through to the British lines, and that map is right there that Arnold has actually created. So Andre is caught and he's hanged as a spy. Arnold himself barely slips away, gets away just in time, and will actually come back and fight against the Americans as a British officer. And I want to put in a plug. This is also a great book. This is Steve Sheinkin, and it's called The Notorious Benedict Arnold. And it's a really good look at Benedict Arnold, and you kind of see this amazing character arc because he's a fascinating character in the American Revolution. All right, well, thank you for letting me share, and I hope you have a good day. I know that was kind of long, but thanks for, if you're still here at the end, thank you. I'll see you tomorrow.